Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to play the main guitar solo from the classic AC/DC song Back in Black. Now if you watch people perform this solo or teach it, you'll notice that the intro and outro to the solo are often done a different way than I'm doing it. And that stems from the fact that people are relying on old tabs that have been around forever. In fact, when I first attempted to learn this solo back in the 80s when I was a teenager, I learned it from a guitar magazine. And those parts that I'm referring to were transcribed that way, the way people tend to do it. But I'm going to show you the right way. And then I'm going to show you both, and you decide which one you like better. Now the first thing I'm going to do is play the entire solo slowly with the tabs on the screen. That way the more advanced players can get through this more quickly, and the rest of you can come back and practice along if you'd like. All right, let's go. Okay, here's section 1 at normal and then slow speed, and then we'll break it up into little bite-sized pieces. Okay, now let's start with a little tone tip. When playing AC/DC, including Angus's solos, you don't want to use a ton of gain. You want it to be a little more of a dynamic tone where if you pick softly, it'll be a little bit softer. Keep that in mind, okay? So in the first box, we go like this. Then in the second box, we do this. So with those first two notes, you'll notice that I palm muted and I played them a little bit more lightly because they're kind of buried in the mix. Then in the third box, we play this. Same thing there. Again, you want to play the first two notes a little bit more softly. Now, a lot of times what people will do in boxes 2 and 3 is they won't play the first two palm muted notes, they'll replace it with the open E, like this. Here's the first 3 boxes. A lot of times you'll see people do that. In fact, that's the way it was tabbed many, many years ago. People keep repeating it, but if you watch Angus live, you'll see he doesn't do that. Now, Angus improvises a lot live, but still, you'll notice that he always does like a... Okay? Either way, you should be fine, though. Then in the last box, we do this, slowly. One thing you could do is, and a lot of people will do this, is just leave out the little scratch notes, so it sounds like this. Either way, you should be fine because those scratch notes are kind of quiet in the mix. All right, here's section 1 one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 2. All right, here's section 2 at normal and then slow speed. Now the first 3 boxes are the same as section 1, okay? Then in the last box we do this, slowly. My advice there is make sure after each note you stop it so it doesn't ring out. And then with the final bend, hold it for a little bit before doing the vibrato. Here's this section one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 3. All right, here's section 3 at normal and then slow speed. So we'll break it up into 2 boxes. The first one, we do this slowly. Okay. Now the second box goes like this, slowly. Now what I want to call out there is notice when I get to the 10th fret of the B string, I've got the font there a little bit slower for those 3 notes, 10, 11, 10. That's because you're going through it more quickly. A lot of times people will do hammer-ons and pull-offs there instead, like this. But I hear a slide there when I listen to the original. All right, here's section 3 one more time at normal and then slow speed. All right, let's move on to section 4. Okay, here's section 4 at normal and then slow speed. So here's the first box, slowly. Now, when we first play that 15th fret of the B string note, let that ring out so that when you do the next bend, it's still sounding like this. Now, in the second box, we do this slowly. Now, notice when we do that first 14th fret bend, right before it, there's a 12th fret G string note. It happens really quickly. You hammer on quickly to 14. A lot of people miss that. You could probably skip it if you want, but it's in there. All right, here's section 4 one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 5. All right, here's section 5 at normal and then slow speed. All right, so the first box, we do this slowly. With that second bend at the 15th fret, make sure you hold it a little bit before you apply the vibrato. And then in the second box, we do this slowly. There's really not much to explain there other than make sure you pay attention to where you're blending notes. Like when you bend up at the 14th fret of the G, make sure it blends with the next note, the 15th fret of B. And then again, after that. Okay, here's the second box again, slowly. All right, here's section 5 one more time at slow and then normal speed. Okay, let's move on to section 6. All right, here's section 6 at normal and then slow speed. So in the first box, we do this slowly. Now, a couple things I want to call out here. Make sure that when you play that 12th fret of the G string note the first time, hold it for a tiny bit before hammering on to 14. The second box goes like this, slowly. Now for this one, what I want to call out is that when you bend up at the 15th fret of the B string, hold it for a little bit before applying wide vibrato. And then for the final part, we do. Okay, let's combine those two sections and play section 6 one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 7. All right, here's section 7 at normal and then slow speed. Okay, first I'm going to show you this section the way that Angus plays it on the record. After that, I'm going to show you the simplified, very easy way that a lot of people play it. All right, in box 1, we're going to do this slowly. So I think a lot of people miss the first two notes where you do the palm muted second string of G pull off to open G before going into. A lot of people miss that, the first two notes. I wanted to call that out. Now, my advice here is when you're playing like the 9th fret of G and the open B string, obviously you're muting the B string in the middle of those two, right? But if you accidentally hit the B string too, it's going to probably be okay. In fact, that happens sometimes when Angus plays live. And then in the second box, we do this. Now my advice here is, of course, let the notes ring. But also, I tend to keep my index finger at the 5th fret of the B string throughout this for two reasons. One, I could mute it by doing that, but also in case it accidentally plays, it'll blend in okay. Okay, so keep that in mind. Then in the third box, we do this slowly. Again, make sure the notes blend. And also, after I play the first 6 on G, open B, open E, pull off to 4 on G, for the last two notes, I'll also tend to fret the 5th fret of the B like I did in the last section, so I can either mute it or play it at the same time. Then in the final box, we do this slowly. Now with that one, my advice is when you do the 15th fret of the B string bend, hold it for a little bit before the vibrato. All right, let's tie all these 4 boxes together and play section 7 one more time at normal and then slow speed. All right, now for the simpler way, the way most people play it. It's close enough where if you do it either way, most people won't notice, okay? But you take that main melody line, and instead of playing it on the G string like this, you do it on the B string. And of course you're blending in the open E or the high open E with that. Okay, and it actually helps control a little bit of the dissonance a little more when you do it down there, so it might sound cleaner and be easier. But if you watch Angus play live, he's always doing it on the G string, that main melody line. Okay, but either way, you should be fine. All right, let's move on to section 8, the final section. All right, here's section 8 at normal and then slow speed. All right, break it up into 4 boxes. The first one, we do this. A lot of people miss those first 2 notes in there, open G and open B twice before you do the melody. Okay, it's in there. Then after that, of course, make sure you blend the notes. All right, box 2 goes like this, slowly. Now, of course, make sure you blend the notes, and then just like I did in section 7, I like to have my index finger rooted at the 5th fret of the B, so I can either silence the B string that way or let it play. Either way, it works out. Then in the 3rd box, we do this slowly. Now, of course, you want to make sure you let the notes blend together. And then also, just as I did in section 7, when I play the 6th fret of the G string and open E at the end, I like to have my, this time, middle finger anchored at the 5th fret of B, just in case it sounds out. Then in the final box, we do this slowly. That's really a quick movement. And the 19th fret slide downs, don't get too hung up on where you do that. Just make sure you slide down. All right, let's tie those 4 boxes together and play section 8 one more time at slow and then normal speed. Now, like I explained before with section 7, if you want to play the simpler version that a lot of people play, you can move the melody down from the G string to the B string, like I've tabbed it here on the screen. And again, if you play it that way, most people won't know the difference. All right, that was my lesson on how to play the main guitar solo from the classic AC/DC song, Back in Black. If you found this helpful or informative, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this kind of content and want to catch more of it in the future, please hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will attempt to answer them as time allows. Until next time, rock on.